What's up, guys? It is Chaz and Charlie. Hope you're having a good day today. And today I want to discuss smoking weed is easier. Specifically, smoking weed every day. Being addicted to weed is easier. Because I kind of chewed on this concept. Really, it didn't start with weed. It just started with things about life in general. It's easier to not diet. It's easier to not save. It's easier to not confront certain emotions. It's easier to do a lot of things in life and just basically go through the motions in life and just, play it safe. Now, in the long run, ultimately, it's not easier because you still will receive the ramifications of not, being a better person or not pursuing change or pursuing growth. So ultimately it's not easier, but in the moment it does seem, or maybe it is, much easier. So, you may smoke weed every day. If you're watching this video, you probably do, or a lot. And if you don't, then, you don't really have an issue. So what I'm saying you may not agree with. Or if you smoke weed every day, you still might not agree with it. But whatever the case, if you smoke weed every day, you've gotten so accustomed to smoking weed, to it being a part of your daily life. And you may have, entertained the idea of quitting or thought about it, but you that's hard, or why do that, or the thought of not having weed every day is scary. It's easier to just smoke weed every day. It's easier to use it as a cushion or use it as a crutch. Because for me personally, when I, was thinking about quitting or trying to quit, it was scary, imagining my life without weed. Imagining my day-to-day with not having smoke breaks or my daily checkpoints to where, okay, it's time to smoke. It's time to relieve myself, time to relax myself. It was difficult imagining living a life where I didn't have that. And the thought of going through a day not smoking, when you smoke for 10, 15, 16, 20 years, that seems hard. And it may actually be hard in the beginning. Sorry. So it may actually be hard in the beginning to, do this or achieve this. So we may choose the easier routes multiple times. It may take several attempts to actually quit because it's easier to just, smoke weed every day. Just like I said, it's like with a diet or a health journey. It's easier to not track what you eat, not care about what you eat, to just eat what you feel, what sounds good, what tastes good to you. That doesn't take much effort besides driving to the place or walking to your kitchen and doing it. But if you're trying to lose weight, trying to be a healthier person, hold on, guys. Okay, it's harder to come up with a meal plan, to find out how many calories you are intaking, to stick to it week after week, day after day, month after month, year after year. That takes work. But in the long run, it's going to benefit you. If you're trying to, find out why you're stressed or why you're depressed or why you have anxiety, it's harder to try to find out what that issue is. It's harder to try to find out what underlying emotions maybe you're carrying from your childhood. It can be uncomfortable. It can be stressful. It's easier to just, ignore it and just go day to day and not address these things. The same thing with, weed. It's easier to just smoke. So, many people, I say, why would I try to make a change? Why would I try to not smoke? Because it's, an easier choice to partake. And also with weed, it's easier also because you can smoke again years and years and years without actually, it's not like alcohol. It's not like harder drugs to where it's actually deteriorating your life. Now, I'll argue that it's still some deterioration in your mind, but you're not going to ravage your life by smoking weed. That's why some people truly believe that weed is not addictive or weed is not a big issue. But for that very reason, we'll say it's easier to just use weed as this stress reliever. But the issue with doing that is we don't learn to handle our emotions on our own. We don't learn how to address certain things that we may make us put on the back burner or say it's not a big deal, or we just move on or go to another thought, but because we are temporarily high. But weed doesn't solve our problem. It just makes us temporarily forget our problems. Just like alcohol, weed and alcohol we're going for the same effect. It's just alcohol is much more harsh on the system. So when people, tend to use weed use alcohol, well, they'll say, I smoke weed because it's better than alcohol, but you're still smoking it for the same reason one would smoke a drink. And just because, weed is less of a poison than alcohol doesn't mean there aren't some negative side effects from years of prolonged use. So we as humans, we like to take the easier route in life and easier in the moment. It seems better. It's easier. It's not stressful. We may get used to doing a certain thing a certain way. We don't like change. We don't like discovering new things. So we take the easier route in a lot of circumstances. And and sometimes it's not bad doing the easier thing, because sometimes we make life harder than what it has to be. We introduce things or take on different things that we don't have to do. And we ourselves make our life harder than what it has to be. But I believe there is a balance to things in life. We have to balance making life easier, not taking on tasks that maybe are too much for us to handle, not make certain decisions that put us in hard situations, but also balance that with doing things that are not easy in the moment, but will ultimately make us a better person. For instance, we may, be trying to choose a spouse or be in a relationship, and we continuously make our lives harder by choosing people that we ultimately know they are no good for us. We pick people with the same qualities, the same characteristics. We trauma bond, and we put ourselves in these dysfunctional relationships because that's what we're used to. And we ourselves are making our lives harder. So we can make our lives easier by, trying to find more suitable partners to be in a relationship with. So ultimately, it will benefit us in the long run to choose a partner that's better for us and make our lives easier in the moment and for the greater outcome. But let's say we may want to save $1,000 or save $10,000. It's going to be harder in the moment to budget ourselves, be more cognitive of our spending, be more frugal in our spending. That's going to be harder in the moment and not the easiest job, but in the long run, it will benefit us to save money and be more frugal. So, life is I believe a balancing act, and different things can apply to depending on what context that you're using them in. So, like I said, if you're struggling with weed addiction, and you may say that, it's hard to not smoke every day. Or you may say, many of us might not say, we'll kind of, glamorize the addiction. We won't say it's hard to quit. We'll say it's easier to just smoke. Smoking makes life easier, makes life better. Why would I quit? Because I believe ultimately, if you're depending on an outside source to determine your emotions, your feelings, and you do this every day, all day, in the long run, that cannot be a good outcome for you. So, I challenge you to not do the easy thing, to do the harder thing that may be harder in the moment, but in the long run, it'll create the best outcome. So while smoking weed every day, all day, may seem fun, it may seem easier, or it may actually be easier. Will it impact your future? Will it impact your emotions? Will it impact your sleep? Will it impact your appetite? Will it impact your drive in life? All these things with prolonged use, weed can affect. In the long run, will it affect these things? And if you're actually honest with yourself and, ask these questions in your head, you may find that it may be beneficial for you to, take a tolerance break to see how you handle life without smoking weed every day, all day. Change things up, switch things up. Don't be a creature of habit, and a habit as far as, as vices. You can be a creature of habit when you're trying to, eating a healthy breakfast. That's a good habit to have. Or getting, 7 to 8 hours of sleep. That's a good habit. You shouldn't want to switch those up and say, I'll get 3 hours tonight. That doesn't make any sense. But as far as smoking weed, you don't have to have weed every day. So let's try not to make it a necessary part of our everyday life. So anyway, guys, what do you think? Do you think it's easier? Do you think it's harder? What is your experience with, smoking weed? I feel like they're looking for somebody in the neighborhood. The helicopter has been flying around for the past 10 minutes. I feel like they're looking for somebody. But that's beside the point. So, till next time, guys, please like, subscribe, share. Most importantly, comment below. And remember, we are all in this together. Peace.